was invested. I was very into this. I was already thinking of this like a Hulu limited series. I felt like I would get to certain points of the story where it read like an hour long episode of the series, and I just knew where the cutoff was and where the cliffhanger or where like the natural ending of the episode would be, and then where the next pickup of the episode was. And baby, I was in this. This was, for me, this was binge worthy, but it's also kind of a slow burn of a story. But for me, the payoff was good. If somebody plans on reading this, I don't want to hype them up and make them think it was gonna be some big payoff, and then it's like when you read the payoff, you're like, that was that. That's all it was. Because I've had that happen before. That's how I felt about Gone Girl. Everybody kind of hyped Gone Girl up, and then it's like when I read it, I was just kind of like, that was all. Or like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Everybody was talking about like, ooh, it ended so sadistic and so twisted, and I was just kind of like, really? I feel like I've read even harsher than that. Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi Oh is a science fiction novel about 6 young people that are chosen out of thousands in the UK to go to an Earth-like planet to colonize it for the UK. And baby, I was on this ride with them through space. I was feeling what they were feeling. I was experiencing what they were experiencing. I was thinking ahead with them. I was imagining what Terra-Two would be like. I was rooting for them. I was getting pissed off with them. I was scared with them, baby. I was scared even when they weren't scared. There were times when stuff was going on. I was like, ooh, this feels. It was just giving me an uneasy feeling. Like, bitch, what's go happen next? Because it's getting weird. Things are feeling weird. I don't know, girl. Just as much as it's a sci-fi, there's an element of like not just suspense and thriller and thrill to it, but there's this looming horror in the back of my brain that I'm thinking of as I read the story. It's not like a very deep, intentional, pushing horror, a horror that's in the back of your brain as you read it, because you're just thinking, what's going on over here? What's happening? Baby, this is space. I'm a little scared for them. I'm a little weirded out. And I'm like, I've seen Interstellar. I've seen Gravity. So I was a little scared for the girls. I was a little scared for the people. There was also like a curiosity about what it would actually be like to be in real life space. And I would love to experience it. Temi O also put so much research she did on space travel and what it's like to be in space and what the training is like and just the experience of it. Some of the research that she put in there, it was going over my head a little bit, so I didn't always get it. And then some of it I got it because she explained and she broke it down a little bit so that you could understand it and really immerse yourself in it and really feel the experience of it. So the research was definitely very thorough to the point that you really got immersed. You really felt like you were in space. You really, like, it made me want to go to space, but then it's also because she got so detailed sometimes, I was just like, I don't know about going to space now. I don't know about that. Because, girl, when Gail and them went up in that little space flight, I was just like, maybe I'd do a little bit of that. But even that, it's just like, girl, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd be like Katy Perry kissing the ground too, because what the hell? The writing definitely made me feel like I was a part of the story. I was really in it. I was right there with them, right there on the expedition, right there feeling so much of it with them. And I also love that it was a multiple POV story. And I also love that it was a third person narrative, a third person limited narrative. I've started to get to a point where first person is not my favorite. I'm really not enjoying first person that much. And I was loving the multiple POVs. Virtual reality flight simulation was a constant within the story. It was in the story, but it was also something that as I read it, I feel like I'm in a simulation. Like, I legitimately felt like I was experiencing everything with them. I will say, at times, I felt like the writing should have shown instead of tell. There were actions and there were things that needed to be described that felt brushed over. I feel like you could have expanded on that, showed that a little bit more, but maybe it was for the best. Because this book was already 500 and some pages, and it did feel a little bit slower to the middle, but I also feel like that in itself was a little bit intentional because I feel like the pacing lets you really get into the simulation, get into the experience of being with them throughout the story and really immersing yourself in the story. Coming down to the end, the story had me on the edge. I was just going for pages, just going like, What's gonna happen next? I'm looking at the last few little pages and I'm like, how is this gonna end? How are y'all gonna wrap this up? Because I want things to work out for them. I want things to go a certain way. I want things to go particular ways. And I was just like, I don't know, man. I started resigning myself to like, okay, things aren't gonna go the way I want it to go, and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. What more can you expect from a story like this? I will say that the story ended in the only way that I can assume it would end or it should end, with how things got to this point. There were a lot of moments, or I guess themes, of that were dropped in here about climate change as to why they are on this expedition to go to this newfound planet to colonize it. But there were also just a lot of discussions on what a new world and a new earth would be like if you had the opportunity to redo it, but also with the knowledge that you have of past mistakes from history, and you're gonna restart and you're gonna do everything and do it better this time. And even with that, baby, there was still conflict. Oh my gosh, because the funny thing is, right now I am thinking about like writing stories. I'm thinking about the worlds that I want to build these stories on or in. This is kind of like helping me feed into that world building that I'm trying to do. It really brought up a lot of physical, philosophical, and political thoughts on stuff like that. It was so interesting. And it also made me think a lot about human nature and why people would do some of the things that they would do in this book. I really do hope they adapt this because I think it would make a great adaptation, and definitely do it with a British cast. I love the Britishness of it and the British colloquialisms. I'm looking forward to an adaptation. I really hope they adapt this into a television show.